Galatians chapter number 6, Paul's writing to the churches in the area of Galatia. Let him who is taught in the word share in all good things with him that teaches. That's taking care of the man of God. And then it says, do not be deceived. God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. And for he that soweth to his flesh will of the flesh reap corruption. But he that sows to the Spirit will of the Spirit reap life everlasting. And let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season, we shall reap, if we faint not. Therefore, as we have opportunity, let us do good to all men, especially to those who are of the household of faith. You reap what you sow, or you reap what has been sown. And I said it been sown because we talked about the children of Israel and how they sowed disobedience, and therefore their children had to experience the harvest from disobedience. And so those of us that are parents, it is important, it's imperative for us to make the kind of decisions that do not create a level of frustration in our children or a burdensome experience. So we must sow correctly to reap correctly. And we talked about you reap the same in kind, the same type. You can't sow one type of seed, you can't sow apple seed and then reap pomegranate. You reap the same type that you sow. Yes, right? You curse somebody out, chances are somebody is going to say something to you that's going to have the same negative effect. And we talked about you reap in a different season than you sow. You do good to somebody today, you may not get it back from that same person today. It's probably going to come back later on through another channel. You reap in a different season than you sow. And then last week we started talking about you reap more than what you sow. And so you sow one thing, but you reap something completely different. But it's in the same category, but it's more than what you sowed. And I said, well, this is where a lot of us struggle, is because when stuff is happening in our lives negatively, the problem is we don't know what is it. Is it just regular circumstances that people go through? Is it the enemy? What is it? Is it something that I sowed? And I said that God is not the author of confusion, so it's important for me to know, why am I going through what I'm going through? Did I sow something in the past and now I'm just reaping it? Or is this just something that the enemy is doing that I got to fight back with the word of God? We started talking about Jacob last week. And if you remember, if you was here, Jacob and his mama got together and tricked his daddy, Isaac. Yeah. And he put on his brother clothes, when he got his brother football jersey, put it on, put some skin of the goats on his hands because his brother was hairy, and went and tricked his daddy and stole the blessing from his brother. Now 14 years later, he experienced the same thing. He tricked his daddy, and then his uncle tricked him. Yeah. And he reaped more than what he sold. Because he lied, it took him a few seconds to lie. He ended up experiencing a lie for 14 years. He reaped a whole lot more than what he sold. And so I want to look at another individual who reaped more than what he sold. How many of you know that God sees everything? Amen. Hey, nothing is hidden from God. There are no secrets to God, because everything is open to him. Yeah. David, who thought he had gotten away, is found out. Yeah. And that's the context. Look at this. It says, and the Lord sent Nathan unto David. Nathan was a prophet at the time. The Lord sent Nathan unto David, and he came unto him and said unto him, there were two men in one city. One was rich, and the other was poor. The rich man had exceeding many flocks and herds, but the poor man had nothing except one little ewe lamb, which he had bought and nourished up, and it grew together with him and with his children. And it did eat of his own meat, and drank of his own cup, and lay in his bosom, and was unto him as a dog. So this man had one lamb, and the rich man had everything. Yeah. He had more than enough, and this poor man, all he had was just this one little lamb. And there came a traveler, verse 4, unto the rich man, and he spared to take of his own flock. He said, I ain't going to take up my own flock. He spared to take of his own flock and of his own herd to dress for the wayfaring man that was come to him, but he took the poor man's lamb. He said, he can't get on. I got more than enough stuff, but I'm going to go and take this man who ain't got but one. Now this is just a metaphor that Nathan is putting in front of David. Because David is king. So that means any kind of criminal activity that's happening in the kingdom, David can be like, okay, this is what needs to happen. David's sitting on the throne just chilling. He listening to Nathan, and he probably no doubt getting angry as he hearing this story. He said, he took the poor man's lamb and dressed it for the man that was coming to him. And David's anger, verse 5, was greatly kindled against the man. And he said to Nathan, as the Lord liveth, the man that has done this shall surely die. He said, gonna give him 4 of them. Because he did this thing and he had no pity. So Nathan upset. He said, no, not in my kingdom. You ain't gonna be treating people like that in my kingdom. And Nathan said to David, thou art the man. This man that you said he needs to surely die because he had no pity, you him. He said the story that I was just talking about, I'm really talking about you. Yes, sir. He said, thou art the man. Thus said the Lord God of Israel, I anointed thee king over Israel, and I delivered thee out of the hand of Saul, and I gave thee thy master's house and thy master's wives into thy bosom, and I gave thee the house of Israel and of Judah, and if that had been too little, I would have moreover have given unto thee such and such things. Look at this. He said, look, God said, look, I gave you everything. I gave you the kingdom of Israel. I delivered you. I gave you your master's house. And if that wasn't even enough, I would have gave you such and such things. That means whatever was necessary, I would have gave it to you.
All right.
He said, whatever you needed, David, I would have gave it to you.